All right, welcome to the podcast. What's up, Lambert?
Not too much, Maddie. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to do this. Excited to do this with you. And we typically have good conversations in the gym all the time, like some good, no pun intended, gems kind of thrown in there between us. So I'm excited. Welcome to the podcast, guys. This is I'm Madison Perkins, and we got
Lambert Budzinski.
Yeah, welcome. All right, so the podcast name, haven't figured it out yet.
TBD.
But we're with Ute CrossFit, and our gym, or I'd say our podcast is, I feel like I want it to be for the gym and for all of you Ute CrossFitters. Just give you something else to think about whenever you're outside the gym and want to listen to something. But it's kind of what we're going for. So if you guys have any subjects or anything you want to listen to or anything, just throw them our way, and we'll talk about them. Today's topic, I think, would be a great way. Me and Lambert went back and forth on trying to figure out what to start with, and what we both kind of kept coming back to is like what makes a great gym. The cool thing that I really wanted to talk about was like what's the difference between kind of our gym and I would say other gyms. You've dropped in a ton in other gyms, right?
Yeah, and I think that's why you and I kind of landed on this topic, is because I have been fortunate enough to travel quite a bit. And when I do that, one of my favorite things to do is drop into different gyms. And believe it or not, I come back with little tidbits every time I go somewhere. And hey, I really liked that. Didn't like this so much. And, gotcha. I'm excited for the opportunity to actually talk about it.
Because you work for Ragnar, right?
I do. Ragnar. Okay. Yep. So traveling all across the country doing that
cool.
stuff.
Cool. Which is funny because you're definitely not a runner.
I am not a runner. No, but I can put on events. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. So you travel a ton, drop into gyms, and I feel like you have a pretty good, unique perspective when it definitely comes to this kind of this topic. Because, like you said, like you've seen a ton of gyms, a ton of places. I've personally coached at 2 different gyms, but I feel like I've started each one basically from the ground up. Ute CrossFit was a lot different. It already had a name. It already had like an established kind of level of name, I guess.
Right. People knew Ute.
Exactly. But coming in, like the gym was doing pretty bad in the sense of like membership. It was just all going down, and that's no like. I'm losing the word. Basically, like nothing against Tommy. He was trying to run 3 gyms at one point. It was like, dude was spread so thin. So that's more or less why he hired me to come out here and try to run the space. And now we're, I think we're 2 months in to being full owners. So pretty excited about that.
Round of applause.
Yeah. Appreciate it. But today's subject is, like I said, what makes a great gym. So like what differentiates or it makes us different than any other gym, because you can do CrossFit anywhere. I feel like, if you go to anything that says CrossFit on it, you're going to do it. And a lot of like nowadays, the functional fitness spaces and stuff like that, you're doing these things.
Right.
One of the first subjects we've kind of made a list of things that we felt like are good topics to talk about when it comes to what makes gyms different. And some of them I feel like are kind of arbitrary. Some of them I feel like are really important, and some of them are hard to explain.
Sure. One
of the things that's like super hard to explain is community. It's like if I were to ask you, like personally, like, hey, what makes a good community in a CrossFit gym? You have something in your mind that you think of.
Yeah.
For me, I do too. And I feel like community is literally the hardest thing to tell people, because like when they're first new to CrossFit, like whenever you were new to CrossFit, I don't know, how long have you been doing it now?
Oh man, coming to Ute, it's almost 5 years, 4.5. Dang,
yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Was Ute your first experience for CrossFit, or?
It wasn't. So I was going up to Wasatch CrossFit for a little bit, and that was too long of a drive. So then I was doing just kind of CrossFit on my own at a global gym before that got stale and needed to come to Ute.
Gotcha. So, did you come to Ute just because it was a lot closer than Wasatch?
Yeah, and I will actually say I tried a couple other gyms before Ute, and I think there was a little bit of a stigma of, hey, I don't necessarily want to go in and have to try to compete with the athletes that are there at Ute. So more of like an intimidation at that time. And then after some other experiences from gyms in the area, I've decided to check out Ute and haven't left since.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I honestly did not know that. Didn't know you went and tried a few other gyms.
Sure did.
Because you were at Wasatch because of Adrian, right?
I was.
And he is your brother-in-law?
Yep, brother-in-law, and he was. That's when he was still training and coaching up at Wasatch. So we had a good relationship with the owners up there, and it was worth it at the time. But an hour drive there, and an hour drive back just was not worth it.
Yeah, so. That is such a long drive.
Right.
It's interesting, like being here in Salt Lake versus being back home in Oklahoma. So being in Oklahoma, like you would like, it was not uncommon to drive 30 minutes, 45 minutes to go somewhere, and that's like highway.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Whereas here, it's like we're 15 minutes from the gym is where we live, so we're like, yeah, whatever, it's just right down the road.
Yeah,
but no, it's cool. I didn't know that you tried other gyms. Like, so, I mean, you kind of touched on it a little bit. Like, what made you come to Ute versus other gyms?
Right. Yeah. So I think that does bring us back to the community piece, right? Which is, I think, a loaded word in the CrossFit space.
Yeah.
A lot of gyms in CrossFit HQ themselves talk about community and what does that mean exactly? And I think for me, the community as a whole is that feeling you have with the other people that are sweating and grinding right next to you, and that euphoria kind of at the end of a workout where your
endorphins are through the roof.
Yeah, you feel like crap, but you also feel so happy to go through those things with the people around you that then goes outside of the gym as well. So you spend time together before class and after class, and then it transpires to things you're doing on the weekend or extra events. And before you know it, you go into people's weddings and you're doing those kind of things. And you don't get that from your Globo gyms.
No, not at all.
If you'll be lucky to see someone a second time, at a Globo gym as opposed to a CrossFit. I see those people more than I see my family a lot of times. So the community word for me is so huge, and that's something that Ute has more than some of the other gyms I've even been to a lot, I think. Now that's a hard thing to say because I've only dropped into occasionally, but
but you frequent like cities kind of, right? So
right.
That
makes sense. But what I will say the community feel is like I don't see a lot of other gyms having the type of friendships and relationships before and after class that Ute has. Yeah. So you'll see people staying for an extra hour or more just around in a circle, sitting on couches, just talking. Not like, hey, here's what I snatched today, but like, just hey,
everyday life conversations.
Yeah, everyday life conversations. You mean you got people offering you cupcakes and hey, let's have a beer. And I mean, we've done parking lot Wednesdays with back in our old drinking days. But for me, that's what the Ute community has been, and I think that is a very big piece of gyms across the country. Whether you and I and other people at our gyms see that as well, I think that's a pretty constant thing that's happening.
Yeah, and it is pretty interesting. Like a few people that I've talked to that have been at Ute for say like a year or two, and then they leave, they go to another gym or something like that. Like they move cities,
right? And
typically they're like, I went for like a month, 2 months, and they're like, I haven't been in 6. I'm like, dude, like why?
Right?
Like it just didn't have the same feel. It didn't have like the same warmth and stuff like that. And I think a lot of that comes down to just me and Britt. You know what I mean? In the sense of like, I see all of you guys, and I really try to like, and it's interesting. Like I don't do it because like I want I'm like, man, I need to know everybody's name. I need to know. It's like I just want to. Like I legitimately like, Lambert, what do you do for work? Like, hey, what do you like? Who are you? I want to know you. If you're gonna come into my gym, I want to know you. So I think it just kind of like comes from the top down. And then I remember one time I was talking to Tony. It was probably the first, I think, 6 months that Tony had been there. He was like, he goes, man, it just feels like Cheers in here. He's like, when everybody walks in, they're like, Norm, He's like, I walk in, everybody's like, Tony. And I think that's super cool because that's kind of what I'm looking for, is that kind of place to where it's like, whenever we introduce someone new, we're like, hey, this is so-and-so. And everybody's like, hey, so-and-so. It's kind of a joke, kind of like AA, like, hi, my name's Bill. Hi, Bill. But it kind of creates that, like, that warmth. Like, hey, you're part of this family, man. Like, hey, fridge is over there. Grab something to drink. Here's the food you need to, that's kind of what I try to, like, create the space as. And honestly, it's like this seems super minor, but like at my old gym back home, we did like I coached the noon, 3:30, and 4.
Okay.
Or sorry, noon, 3:30, and 5. That was 3 classes I coached Monday through Friday. We had a girl named Jenna. She coached all the morning classes. We had another girl named Sarah, and then it went to Justin. It went, through our like kind of coaches. We all had our set classes that we scheduled throughout the week. And I think the way, because when I moved here, Tommy basically was like, no, we don't do you coach this classes all week. He's like, I try to make you bounce so you see everybody.
Right.
And he was like, I try to do it with the other coaches. And I think that really does help on that because it's not us versus them. It doesn't create, this is the 5:30 a.m. class. This is the 5 p.m. class. This is, coach whoever coaches us every day. This is our class.
Yeah.
And I think doing that kind of sets the precedence down that, hey, it's okay if you bounce from class to class or you go to here because we're all going to welcome you. It doesn't matter who coaches you. It doesn't matter who's in the class. It's, hey, welcome, come on in. Mm-hmm. But I will say, like, community, I know that a lot of CrossFit gyms, like, they try to make that part of their selling point. Like, we have the best community in the valley or best community in the whatever. And it's like, you can't, in my mind, I'm like, you can't use that as a selling point. Right. That's why you never hear me talk about it in the sense of like, if you've ever heard me talk about someone new, I'll bring it up like, hey, we got a really good community of people that come to the gym. They're super nice. And then I move on.
Right.
Because it's to me, it's something like I could go blue in the face trying to explain what our community is. And it doesn't mean anything because until you experience it, like it was interesting. I was talking to Myra. Have you met her? Short. She comes to 7 p.m. a lot. Her. Claudia.
Yeah.
And okay. So I was talking to her last night. She brought in her boyfriend. Super nice guy. He's done the class like 1 or 2 times maybe before. And he's signing back up. His name's Luke. Super nice kid. But she told me the first night she came in, I had no idea. She was like, yeah, the first time I ever came in, I was looking around the room. She's like, I thought everybody was watching me. She's like, I went way too hard in the workout. I ended up throwing up. Oh, boy. I was like, oh, damn, I had no idea you did that. She was like, yeah, but after the first like 2 or 3 times I came in, I started to realize that no one cares. Like no one's watching you. Like obviously, like if you do well or if if you just try your hardest, people give you high fives, like you said, hang out afterwards. But yeah, it's like it's an interesting concept, the word community, because I feel like you said in the CrossFit community, like as a whole, I feel like that word's just been kind of like downplayed really hard, and not downplayed. That's probably a bad word for that, but basically kind of like overused.
Sure.
Because like I do believe our community is an awesome one in the sense of like you said, like I feel like it's created so many good friendships that. It's interesting. I'll have someone new come in. I'm like, hey, do you see around the room? Like you guys will be talking and, cutting up and hooping and hollering, having a good time. And I'm like, do you see all these people? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, none of them knew each other before they came in. And they're like, no way. They all look like best friends. I was like, yeah, they all do. It's because, that's our community. But like the community, I feel like isn't really made without good coaches.
Yep.
And I feel like it's kind of like going to a next topic of coaching. Like you just got your L1. How was that, by the way? Every time I talked to you, it was awesome.
Yeah,
so
it was good.
You can kind of expand on it if you want. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I do want to mention one thing before I get into that. Mm-hmm. And it is, attitude reflects leadership. And the way that the attitude of the people who are coming to you to sweat and get their workout on are having a good time because of the leadership of you and Brittany and the other coaches. So if the community's good and strong and everybody's having a good time, it's because of you guys. So I don't want that to get missed. You mentioned it, but the reason I stayed at you and the reason a lot of people come to and continue to stay is because of the leadership of, the gym and kind of the brand. Because Ute is bigger than a gym, I believe. So
well, I appreciate that because that's something that I don't think of often because it's kind of like stroking my own ego, and I'm not trying to do that. But I appreciate that, and it is interesting to think of it that way as like the kind of like leadership top down almost. Yep. It's because like I think it's just like the Southern hospitality that me and Britt kind of have. Like welcome, come on in.
Yeah. I mean, when you come in and you see the coaches and the owners having a good time and, yelling to people across the room when they walk in the door and, being able to connect maybe new people to the gym with existing members because of where they're from. And then you guys remember that, I think goes a long way. And that's a comforting feeling for anyone coming to the gym. So I think that's a huge piece on why the community is so strong at our gym.
Yeah. And I agree with you because because it is intimidating because
Right.
like for beginners people that have been doing it for a while, and then just experienced people that have an idea, they know what's going on. I think it just creates such a, because like I've dropped into gyms and you've like tripled or quadrupled or whatever the amount of gyms I've been in. Like I don't know, because like, the few gyms that I've dropped into, I typically either will do a class or I'll just do open gym.
Mm-hmm.
A majority of the time I just do open gym because of the time I go in.
Right.
But do other gyms not do kind of the way we do things? I don't know, because that's, like I said, I have I have way less experience with any of that than
Right.
say you do.
Right. So a lot of the gyms that I've gone to are not quite as enjoyable in terms of their schedule, right? So it feels very much like a come in, do your hour if you're doing a class, and then it's time to go. Where I don't see a lot of the people talking afterwards, or the coach talking to them afterwards, or people giving each other high fives and fist bumps. Now there's a little bit of it, but it is still all within that hour. It usually feels like.
Gotcha.
And a lot of it is like, you can tell that if somebody's 5-10 minutes late, they're going to have to wait till the next class. So I think that Ute's got a good mix of, we're going to give you some leeway and make sure that, you're going to be able to get into the class that you signed up for, but we're also going to make sure that you're not going to injure yourself because you came in late also.
Right.
So, I think in terms of what other gyms are doing, I think some are more strict than others. Some are even looser than ours, but I think we've got that good balance of, we want you to be there. And if, everyone's got life. So if you can't, if you've only able to make 45 minutes of class, we're going to put you through a good workout and make sure you don't hurt yourself.
Right. Yeah. And that's something that like I learned at my old gym back home. Like we probably tried like 50 different things of like starting class exactly on time. Like if you show up late, here's your warm up. Like, or if you show up late, you have to burpee for every, minute, or, whatever. Like we tried so many different things, and like, and I've brought this up to numerous people, but like the gym that I worked at back home was for the native tribe, the Choctaws in Oklahoma. And it was free. It was free for anybody that came in. No one paid a membership. So like our goals were to, or at least for me personally, like I never was told this or like talked to about it, but like my goal for the gym was, how can I have a class of 15 to 20 people show up consistently Monday through Friday with no obligation other than I just want to be there.
Right.
Like the atmosphere, the all the different things that create a CrossFit gym or create a gym, make people want to keep coming back. And we literally grew it from 15 people. Literally, it was we had an all women's class. I met Tuesday, Thursday, 15 people, to when I left, we had over 200 members. And we had 7 classes, or I think it was 8. I probably can count it, but it was like 8 to 10 classes a day, where it started out and it was 2 classes a week. So like I kind of came in with that almost experience of like creating an atmosphere of making people want to be there.
Right.
Like the whole starting class late. Like I've gotten so much flack from people on that. Like, and I didn't know this, but I just learned that you're late to everything too.
Usually. Yep.
And that makes me feel so much better.
Except for CrossFit.
Yeah,
usually
right.
I'm there on time.
Like 10 minutes early.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I'm late to everything. So it doesn't matter how prepared I try to be, I'm typically late. And so like you said, life happens, stuff like that happens. Some people are just typically late.
Right.
And you can't fault people for that. I mean, it sucks because like you want them there on time, obviously. You want to start class on time. You want to end class on time, but life happens.
Yeah.
And the more strict you are with those things, the less people are going to show up. Like I've heard stories of how they used to run stuff before I came, and people are like, yeah, literally used to just drive right by it and be like, well, whatever.
Yeah.
Not going
to make it.
Exactly. Not going to do those 50 burpees or that, 2K row warm up or, whatever. It's just something that's beneficial for you, but it just sounds absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
So it's like creating an atmosphere for people that want to keep coming in has been kind of like, I think, my subconscious goal from day one, because like I don't go at it with like, yeah, all right, I'm going to have the most exciting and fun place for people to want to be. No, it's like I want to create an atmosphere that people want to keep coming back to, because
exactly.
And I think that is why the community at our gym has kind of grown into what it is today.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we are not being paid to do CrossFit, right? So we are paying a membership to come in and do it, and it's on us to be on time, to put in more time, to do the things that help us progress. Yeah. And as coaches, we are not responsible. We're not people's bosses. We're not people's parents. We're not here to tell them what they can and can't do in terms of how they use their time and how they're using their investment. Because I do believe that going to CrossFit is an investment, and for me, it's an investment on my health. It's an investment on, my life going forward. And I enjoy the things I get out of it. Yeah. So we're here to help people along their journey. Yeah. We are not here to scold or push people in any of the directions that we might want them to go. That's not up to us.
Right. And I think you touched on two awesome subjects there. One is the investment aspect. You brought it up before the podcast, and I just thought that was an interesting way of looking at it. And I've heard it in other podcasts, and I've heard it from other people, that coaches and gym owners and all those things. But the other one is kind of like you're an adult. Like, we're not here to scold you or tell you what to do or any of those things. It's because it's an interesting. I've taken classes, and I've also heard coaches coach in a way of, I'm the boss, you listen to me, and I'm going to tell you what to do. And I'm like, dude, like, my first thought is, F you, I'm an adult, I'm going to do what I want. So it's like, if you don't go at it that way, like you said, like, you're investing in this space because you want to see your life grow and be better and all these different things. And I think kind of going at it that way, like that, and that's one reason why I love all of our coaches, is because none of them really like try to point fingers at you, like, you need to listen to me and this is what you need to do because I said so. Like, you're going to do this. It's like, no, like, you showed up. I'm going to, like, this is what I would like you to do. If you can't, or like, let's say, something in life happened. Right. Like, someone flipped you off and almost hit you in the car on the way here. It's like, okay, well, I'm a little stressed to the max. I don't feel like trying to go for a 1 rep max, whatever. I'm like, cool, let's just move today. You know what I mean? And I think that, like you said, a lot of our coaches are in a way like that they can read that. Yeah. And then they go off of that. Like, you're here, like, but kind of bringing it back around, and we can touch more on that if you want. But like the investment side of things, I love that thought. Like, whenever you said it to me, I was like, yes. Like, I feel like that conversation needs to happen more. Yeah. Because once you realize that, then I feel like you kind of approach it slightly different. You know what I mean? Like, sure. If you're like, we can go on all aspects of this, and what I mean is like experience level. Like we talked about, we have beginner, intermediate, and I would say experienced. Either way, in any of those three, you're literally investing in what you're doing. So like, if you go to a Globo gym, CrossFit gym, F45, Orange Theory,
Jazzercise, which I was ready to do today.
Yeah. But, were you really?
Yeah,
oh, gross.
Beside the point.
I've seen it. I've seen those classes. Not fun for me. But anyway, if you're any of those things, like, the investment aspect of that is 100% like is on point of what it is. Right. Like, that's why you pay an expensive gym membership. That's why, like, anybody could go buy gym equipment, work out in their garage, which tons of people are doing right now. Mm-hmm. And I've had more and more people reach out to me saying like, hey, I outfitted my garage and I'm bored. I'm not pushing myself like I would in the gym. Like, I need you to push me. Right. Like, so I want to touch on kind of that a little bit more, just because like your background, you played football, which yep. means you worked out a lot in your life. Yep. Like you said, you tried the Globo gym stuff for a little bit after Wasatch, and then you went and tried out a bunch of different gyms. Like, for you have your L1 now. I would consider you a coach because, like, you've been shadowing me long enough that I think that you have pretty good experience, at least to like run a class, and I've watched you run a class. Like, you got enough knowledge under your belt. Like, right. you're good. What keeps you coming back to the classes? Like, what, you know what I mean? Yep. Because, like, I think about that a lot.
So back to that investment piece. So exactly. So I think in terms of that beginner, intermediate, experienced, wherever you may fall into those different categories, I think it's important to remember that all of us started as beginners. Mm-hmm. And whether some of us had more experience than the others in terms of being in a gym or doing sports or whatever that is, I think is in terms of CrossFit, pretty irrelevant, because to be honest, none of us are elite CrossFitters, right? As much as we'd like to be, right? We're all just there for the same thing, and that's to look good, to feel good, to live a healthier lifestyle. So we all started as beginners, and that's kind of where that buy-in started, right? And so for anyone who's, first and only gym has been Ute, there's something that happened in those first few months that they bought into it, right? And they bought into the coaching, they bought into the programming, they bought into the gym and the amenities and everything that's about it that makes them check sugar wad each night, right? To see what's that next thing that's going to happen for me tomorrow. And again, regardless of where you fit in those categories, some days are going to be better than others, but it's a lot like golf, right? I've always compared this to golf. It's like some days I will come in and I'll just be piping the ball down the fairway. And then the next day I'll come in and I will not remember how to hit the golf ball, right? And I think that's what keeps people coming back. And that's what has kept me coming back, is just that progress. It's just seeing that, and that's the beauty of CrossFit, right? Is how you can see things change and improve and develop, from weeks to months to years. And the longer that you're invested in it and you're bought into what you're doing, the more progress you're going to see and the happier you're going to be with results. Right. And again, a lot like golf, it can always be better. And that's what's so fun about it is, although every day might not be a PR, you've moved the needle a little bit every day towards that healthier lifestyle, which ultimately, again, that's all we're here for.
Right. And it is an interesting thought on a lot of what you just said. To like, some days you come in and you feel great and you crush it. You may not even PR, but you feel great. And then some days you come in the next day and it's like I've never worked out a day in my life.
Right.
Like I'm dying. Like I can't breathe. Like the movements aren't happening. Like double unders. Like I'm whipping myself every third one. It's like just making me angry, And I believe that a lot of the investing kind of pushes you to keep coming back because like you said, like you keep pushing the needle slightly further forward, regardless of what kind of day it was. Because like we've talked about before, like a later podcast, we'll kind of dive into it a lot deeper, is going to be the good days, bad days. You know what I mean? It's like you come in, you kill it. You come in, you feel like crap. You don't want to. But I think, like you said, like if you just kind of keep checking yourself, almost like coming back and realizing what your original investment for was, helps so much.
Exactly.
Because it's like your why, like they always say, like, what's your why and all those things. But like, I think if you can learn to take a step back whenever, and that's what I'm having not really hard time, but like that's what I'm dealing with right now, is I'm trying to take a step back. I'm almost 10 years into CrossFit and this is the only thing I've ever done. You know what I mean? And I enjoy it. I have so much fun. Like today I had a blast. I mean, the workout just completely obliterated me. Like I was literally drooling and like Dan Bailey style, like not good. But it was like afterwards, like once everything kind of settled down, I was like, man, that was cool. That was fun. It's like, which is a little psycho, but like I enjoyed it. What I mean?
I considered jazzercise it.
Future class. So if you guys are ready, Lambert's going to be the instructor. It's 5 a.m. on Sundays.
Right.
But no, I think kind of coming back to that original investment, like why did you start doing this? Like what was because like you said, everybody starts from somewhere.
Right. Yeah. For me, so I, you mentioned it, I played football through high school and college and then did a year of arena football. And when I was done playing football, I legitimately said out loud to multiple people that I would never go into a weight room again. Right. I was so burnt out. I was so sick of like bench press and back squat and dumbbell curls and just the things even in a college program, you're doing very similar stuff to a Globo gym, right? It's more structured because you've got people watching you and there with you. But I was sick of a schedule. I was sick of competing. I was just burnt out. And then for me, there was a very real wake up call when I couldn't do the things that I used to be able to do, right? Like if I was going to play pickup basketball or flag football and I just couldn't move the way that I used to.
Hurting and sore? Or
like... just because I had put on weight and I had gotten lazy, and I really took that, hey, I'm not going to go to a gym ever again, kind of to heart for a little bit. Yeah. And that's not a good thing when you don't do anything and you just kind of eat all the time. So for me, that was kind of my wake up call of like, hey, you actually can't do this. And, I did the Globo Gym thing for a little while, and it's just not, I mean, that's great. And there's people whose lives have changed because they decided to go to a Planet Fitness one day. And I love that those things exist.
Yeah, same.
But there's another category of people who want the different day-to-day that CrossFit provides. And for me, I love the little bit of competitiveness that it provides.
Right.
And again, that's got good days and bad days too, right? Because sometimes it's very easy to get too competitive, which is at times unhealthy.
Get caught up in that almost.
Right. So you've got to reel that in. But for me, that's what's kept me coming back, and it's more enjoyable than playing, collegiate football, because I can kind of make my own schedule and work on things that I want to work on. But also, I get to do it with some of my best friends and be in a space that I enjoy, spending some time each day with people.
Right.
So,
yeah. And then the idea of it being, like you said, like each day is something, and you kind of see where I'm going with this. Each day is different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a part of CrossFit, of like what makes CrossFit so much fun, is that each day, every time you come in, it's different. You know what I mean? Like, it might be squatting again or pressing again or whatever, but it's like in a different format, a different time, a different weight, a different whatever. And that's what makes it fun. And like with the gym, I made a change. It was, I think going in probably I think we're at like 8 months, maybe 10. I made a change of doing the programming to subscribing to Jump Ship programming, because I tried it over the summer and I enjoyed it for the it's called Jump Ship 90. It's this 90-minute like window. Basically, you start the clock, you hit a warm up, workout, strength or whatever variation those last 3 were of some kind, and then it has extra credit on the end of that. So I really enjoyed that because one, it took a lot off my plate. I was basically spending 3 hours every Sunday coming up with a week of programming. And I actually listened to his name's Seth. I actually listened to him, the programmer, today on a podcast. And one of the things he talked about was he would program out 4 days. And he was like, by the end of that fourth day I wrote down, he was like, my creativity is like, I'm getting spent. I'm getting tired. And he was like, it would start to dip, so I'd stop. And I was like, cool. Like makes me feel a lot better, because I've spoke with people in the past. They're like, how far in advance do you program? They're like, you should do 6 months, you should do 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, and I'm like, dude, if I make 5 days without like wanting to completely shut everything off, like I'm stoked, because it's like it is the creative side of things that tends to like wear on me as a programmer. But it's cool. Like, I'm glad I did it. I don't know what that was. I'm glad I did it because it helped me learn a lot, in the sense of like what works, what doesn't. Like when someone's like, hey, how should I scale this? I know now, because like I've made up the workouts enough that I can be like, okay, what's the stimulus? What are we looking for here? Like what's the idea behind this workout? And whenever I was looking at Jump Ship stuff, I thought it was one of the things that like other gyms do, that I've heard so many people say this when they come in and they ask like, what do you guys follow as a program, like workout wise and stuff like that? And I'm like, oh, we do Jump Ship. And to be honest, my reasoning why is, one, I kind of like, I do have my beefs with the programming, like everybody does. If you're not doing it, even with my stuff, I still was like, should I do this, or oh man, I need to change that, or hey, I shouldn't have done that. I still have those thoughts about my own stuff. But with his, he was like, I feel like he's about 80 to 90% of how I like to program. And I really liked it. And the biggest selling factor for me was they had their what's called Jump Ship 90. That's their competitors. It's get everything done in 90 minutes. Then the next step down from that was that they did a 60-minute one based off that. And then they did a class based off that. So that's where we get our class programming. And a lot of people have asked me like those things. But the biggest thing that I like about it is that I don't feel like I'm on the cool kids table.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of gyms do that. They're like, well, we have our competitors over here, and then we have our class over here, and it creates this separation. Right. And I'm like, I hate that. My old gym back home, our 5 p.m. class I coached every day. We did not have a competitors class at all, but we had everybody was like, oh, the 5 p.m. is for the competitors. And it wasn't. It was just because that was a class of people. Literally, every person in there that came to that class knew what was going on, and they worked hard. Whether like I had like guys that couldn't do pull-ups. I had like ladies that couldn't deadlift over 100 pounds, and they came to the 5 p.m. class, but they were considered the competitors, all that stuff. And I'm like, dude, no, it's just average people that want to fucking work out. Yep. They want to come in and kill themselves, in a positive way. They're here to work hard.
Yep.
And that's what I liked about doing the jump ship stuff, is that I feel like, because programming does not make or break a gym. Well, I'll take that back. Programming does not make a gym. Programming can break a gym.
Sure.
Because you create this cool kids table to where it's like, oh, the competitors are doing this, or oh, you guys are much better than me. Like, oh, it was different. And it's like, no, like, it's all relative, for one. Mm-hmm. Two, I'm not any better than you. It doesn't matter what skill level I am at CrossFit. I'm not a better person than you.
Right.
And it's interesting because people at the gym, plural, think that way. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, you can do the competitor stuff. Oh, you must be better than me. And it's like they literally push themselves down almost. And it's like, why are you doing that? Like, stop. It doesn't matter. Like, if I'm running a mile and you're running 400 meters, it's the same thing. We're both running.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like, it's like someone who can run a marathon versus someone who can run a mile. It's like, yeah, that's a huge feat. Let's congratulate you. That's exciting. I'm proud of you. That's awesome. But that doesn't make you a better person.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I like the line that's drawn with Jump Ship, is like, we're not going to create a program that makes it to where it's like, we're better than you. There's a lot of days I shouldn't even do the froggy stuff. I'm like, well, my ego got hit hard on that one. Yeah. But and I enjoy that. Like, I need that, not in a sense of like I need my ego checked, but I need that to realize like I still have a lot more room to grow. You know what I mean? In like the fitness sense. But I feel like if you're looking at a gym, or like the programming, it's interesting. I tend to get hit up by people a lot to be like, well, at this gym I was the better person, or at this gym I XYZ, and I tell them about our programming, and they take a few classes. They're like, holy crap, like this is hard. I'm like, yeah, like that's what we look for,
right? Because
it's like I use you as an example a lot, like you, Nate, like a lot of our Brandon, like a lot of our top I'd say like the top 5 people in the gym.
More experienced.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. More experienced people. Yeah, and that's an even better way of looking at it. The more experienced people in the CrossFit / working out world, is I use you guys because I want you to progress. In CrossFit, they use a term called write the scale for the, or what is it? It's write the workout for the best, scale for the rest. Yeah, it's worded slightly different, but there's different variations. But that's what I liked about the jump ship stuff. And then if there's something I don't like, I go in there and change it. Like, I know I've gotten feedback lately from people. They're like, you should go back to programming. Have you liked the stuff? Because, I mean, I know you kind of come in some days and do your own, which is perfect. And I want to touch on that on a positive note. You know what I mean?
Right.
But, like, have you liked a lot of the newer programming stuff? Or
Yeah. So what I'll say is I think segregation is the quickest way to scare people away. Mm-hmm. And a lot of, not a lot, but some of the gyms I've been to, that's not an enjoyable experience if you're kind of on the outside of that.
Right.
And to each their own. Everyone has, their own opinions of how they feel about it. But what I love about Jump Ship is that, people can do a, the competitive version of the workout for the day, mm-hmm. side by side with the people that are doing the class version,
right.
and have no idea.
Right.
Because it's subtle differences, or an extra round here, or the time's a little bit different here, but it's not a segregated program. Yes. Right. And now there's people who come in and do the full thing during open gym, and that's great. And their time's going differently, but it's not something that is so apparent to your just average beginner or intermediate CrossFitter that comes to you that would scare them away.
Yes.
Which I think is really important with Jump Ship. Yeah. So I've actually really enjoyed that, because there is some days where I'm like, hey, I'm going to do this because I want this stimulus that the competitive version is offering. And there's other days where I'm like, I'm just going to do what is programmed for class because I don't want to do that today, or I feel this way today. So I think there's great value in both of it. And I think it would be great if even more people at the gym knew that those two options existed. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The hardest part that's been with doing Jump Ship, the like incorporating it into the gym, has been whether like what to choose or not.
Yeah.
Because like I'll have some people, it's interesting to me, we'll have some people that will do the I call it the froggy athletes. It's, I don't know, I don't like RX Plus or competitors or any of that stuff. I feel like it kind of creates that like stigma to it.
Yeah,
So we said froggy because one time I programmed higher box jumps and I was like, feeling froggy, you jump a little higher. You know? And it's just kind of stuck. And I feel like it's kind of, and it's funny, I'll have people come in from outside of the gym, you know, they'll be like, oh, what about your competitors? I'm like, oh, we have froggy athletes.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I like that because it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't create this segregation. It's like you're just feeling a little more froggy today. Like let's see what you got.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. Like sometimes, and this is totally fine. And like I have nothing against it. Like I have some people that do the froggy workouts, but scale the bejesus out of them.
Yeah.
Which is fine. You know what I mean? It's like you want to do the more competitive stuff, the more froggy stuff, but have to scale it, whatever. And that's what's cool about CrossFit. And like you said, to put another little point into what you said was you can literally do the froggy stuff right next to someone in class, and they have no idea.
They would have no idea.
The only reason why they know is because they asked you, like, oh, what looks like you're doing
differently. Yeah.
Oh, well, I did this. Like, oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the hard part about it is like sometimes it is like the workout the other day was like a 35-minute cap. You did that one today.
Yeah.
And it was like in class, the class version was a 10-minute cap because it was like you go through a chipper and then go back through it. And then class went just straight through it.
Yep.
And they did a slightly lower reps version just for time's sake. So it is interesting because it's like at what point do you pick what to do? And I think like you said, I want to try the stimulus out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you were to look at the froggy stuff and be like, man, that's 35 minutes. Holy hell, I'm not doing that. But if you look at the other side of it, it's like, cool, I'll just go into class and do that.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
And I just think I think everybody feels differently, right? Like there's some days that you go in and like I said about golf, you feel great and you're like, I want to push the envelope a little bit. And there's other days where you're like, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If the workout was to row for an hour, I'd just do that. And I think that's what people need to understand is it's okay. Like it's okay to have good days and bad days. And I know we'll talk about that at a later one, but to pick whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like we're here to help you on your journey and not tell you that you have to be competitive or you have to be RX or whatever, but we're going to help you if you know your safety's compromised because you picked a different option. So we're going to guide you in the right direction. But at the end of the day, if you look at yourself as a froggy or competitive athlete and you want to do those things, well, shit, then do it
for it. Right.
And we're here to help you with that. So I think that's what's really important for people to understand is that there's options and it's not just the one thing that's programmed on the main page. There's plenty of options to help along.
And I think the idea of like, how are you feeling today is such like I feel like that plays such a role in everything. And it's kind of what I've been dealing with lately. And I know we keep saying this, like we will touch on this on a later podcast, but I think the idea of people like, accepting that like, oh man, I feel like crap today, dude, come in. Like you said, like I've literally told people like, dude, come in. We're going to do a 2-minute bike, a 2-minute row, 5 rounds, you know, that's 20 minutes. And then you're going to roll out and stretch out for the next 10, 15 minutes. No intensity. Take your time. Don't like get a little sweaty if you want. If you're feeling good in the later rounds, push it. If not, whatever, just take your time. So I think that like, that's what's another thing that's cool about the jump ship programming is that so Froggy or the competitors, they go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, off Thursday, Friday. Saturday is their other 2 days. Class does Monday through Saturday, and how they do it is they do one active recovery day. This week was Tuesday. It was the bike, burpees to a plate, and what was the other thing?
The row. Oh no, it was
row. It was row.
Kettlebell swing
that was
and a
what it was.
burpees to the plate. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was considered an active recovery, and it was funny. I had one of the guys test. She comes at 7 p.m. He's like, "This is an active recovery." I'm like, okay, cool. Let's just do lighter weight kettlebells. Let's do, you know, cut the burpees down. Let's cut the row. Like, and he was like, really? And I'm like, yeah, dude, it's okay. Like, take it easy today. Like, feel better tomorrow because you came in today.
Yep.
Because it's like you said, you don't need to beat yourself on the floor every day and feel like you have to. Like, you're in my gym, you're gonna kill yourself. It's like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
That sucks. Like, no one, like, I don't know. I couldn't function well in a gym like that. Like, I love being pushed, and sometimes I'm like, man, I just need to like suck it up today and push hard. Like, I have those days, but it's like, it's okay to have those days where you don't go in and kill yourself and try to like just beat yourself on the floor for no reason. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And by the no reason, I mean like you're not getting any benefit from this. Like, what was your coming back? What was your original investment for?
Yeah. So, what was my original investment in coming back to Ute?
No, I was just saying, like in general, like like it's something to kind of like remind yourself, like whenever you're coming in and you're like, man, shit, like the coach is telling me I need to do this. What was my original like coming in here for? Like, I feel like shit. Like, I don't want to play. Like, this sucks. Like, why am I? You know what I mean? Like, in the sense of like I'm enjoying the community. I'm enjoying the coaches because I really like them. But it's like the workout today is just like, I'm not ready for that. It's like, dude, remind yourself. Right. It's the
keep kicking that thing.
Yeah, I know. But you gotta like remind yourself, like, what is my original reasoning for coming in here? Like when you first started, like everybody, it's like if I were to do, say, the workout Helen, which is 3 rounds, 400-meter run, 21 kettlebell swings, 12 pull-ups. And if I were to say, this is our workout today, cool. In a year, we repeat it. And you've had a shit week, like if you have kids and they're stressing you, or like life, work, home life, you almost got into a wreck on the way to the gym, whatever. Like all of these things make a crucial role in everything you do. And it's like you walk into the gym and you're just like, not today. You got to remember your original investment. Like to start that workout, whenever you first started, it was an accomplishment to finish it.
Yeah, exactly.
And now it's like you're a year in and it's like, well, I want to PR, I want to do better. And it's like, dude, you just stressed for freaking 4 days. And now you're going to come in and try to PR something? No, it doesn't work. Like, remind yourself of that original investment. And kind of coming back to what you said as well, I feel like our coaches do a really good job. Like, you guys, like, really do well at talking to people and seeing where they're at today.
Yep.
Rather than just being like, oh, no, this is what you have to do. I'm going to kill you today.
Yeah. And I think that's important, right? Because we do spend so much time with each other during the week and over the weeks and months that you get a sense of people's personalities that when someone comes in, and myself included, not having a good day, you can usually tell just based on how they interact. And sometimes I think, people want to come in and just work out and not be talked to. And that's okay.
Yeah.
But most of the time, the coaches are at least going to give you a positive word and check on you outside of just what that workout is for the day, which I think is so big in that community piece, that people know that they have a safe space to come and do their workout. And whether they're having a good day or a bad day, it's a comfortable environment that people look forward to coming to.
It's interesting. You kind of touched on something there, and it made me think of a few things. Like, one, like, what is like Planet Fitness's biggest like selling factor? Judgment-free zone, right?
The no lunk alarm thing, or the lunk alarm. Yeah.
Stupid. It's the dumbest thing ever. I get the reasoning behind it. You know what I mean? Because you don't want people to intimidate other people, but like, because like their whole thing is judgment-free zone. But it's like, so I go to Vasa here, which is a local like global gym, and I sit in the sauna a lot. And like, I literally have been running a gym for 3+ years. Managing a space for almost 5 years. Now me and my wife Brittany are owners. And every time I walk into the space, I feel judged so hard.
Yeah.
Like, I start getting insecure, and I'm like, dude, you know what you're doing. Like,
yeah.
Like, if anything, these people should be asking you questions. You know what I mean? Not trying to like, make my head bigger or anything. But it's like, I feel judged so hard. And it's just a regular gym. But like you said, like, our gym, like our coaches, they check in with you. It's a safe space. No one really cares in the sense of like how much you can lift and how much you're doing today. Like, I have people come up to me like, hey, would you get on the workout today? I'm like, man, I've just had a bad week, so I just moved today. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's understandable.
Right.
Cool. I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's an option.
And yeah, that's why I tell them, like, dude, you gotta check yourself sometimes. Like, life's hard, and these workouts are even harder. So it's like you have to realize that, and that kind of creates this almost like overall vibe in the gym, and like it kind of creates this space, like you said, like you walk in, you feel welcomed, you feel like you said, safe space. Like, I know it's kind of a weird word to say that about a gym, but it's like a safe space in the sense of like you don't feel judged. Like, I've had numerous people come in, like a guy named John. I remember this probably the first like 3 weeks. Dude said like 4 words to me. And I finally went up to him, I was like, what do you do for work? And he goes, oh, I'm a counselor at a high school. I was like, okay. Like that just told me everything.
Right.
In the sense of like, because he's like, sorry, I don't talk much. He's like, I talk all day.
Talk all day long.
And
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. You knew it before I even said it. And I was like, okay, well, all right. I know where you're at now.
Yeah. And I think, 99.9% of us started coming to CrossFit or any other gym because we wanted to improve things in our lives, and that everybody's list is different.
Right.
But that investment is in yourself, and there's so many different things that go into that we've kind of already touched on. But one of them is investing in a place that I can come and be myself and engage with like-minded individuals. Right. And that's what the beauty of not only Ute CrossFit, but CrossFit as a whole has created.
Yeah.
Just like anything else, right? If people want to go do, cycling or whatever it is, these fitness spaces are just another avenue of expression in finding who you are and being comfortable in that. And people will continue to see different results and have different feelings about it the more they are invested in it. Mm-hmm. And that's really all it comes down to.
Yeah.
And if you are just like, hey, I'm just kind of going through the motions and continuing to do that, you're not truly invested, and you're not actually going to get out of it what you right. started for.
Yeah, it's like you're literally just like pissing away your money.
Exactly.
You're just flushing it down the toilet. Like, even if you're showing up like say 2 to 4 days a week, but if, like you said, like if you just find yourself going through the motions, it's like, okay, we need to, like, that's okay, sometimes, like you said, just because.
Oh, absolutely.
If it's taking, like, if you're just pumped to show up because you're like, man, it's just the way things been in my life, like I'm just excited to just show up, even though I'm like not really pushing myself and those things. But it's like at some point you have to check with yourself and then create this checks and balances. If you're not pushing yourself or getting excited about showing up to the gym again, like we need to check in with your life, see what's going on, figure out where we can make some changes, and I don't necessarily mean like full life. I mean, like you said, like if you're getting burned out in CrossFit, go try spin, go try jiu-jitsu, go try, because it's like you need that spark again to help you be excited in life. And it helps a ton. So I had a thought and then I totally had a brain fart, but I think creating a space to where it's like we push you to like your to meet your investment goals that you originally made is kind of been like our goal, obviously, for most CrossFit gyms.
Yeah.
You said something in there that made me want to think about. I was going to go somewhere and I completely drew a blank. I don't know.
That's all right. No, I'm just, I keep thinking back to, in a day-to-day, different lifestyles and different things that people have going on. And like, if you want to come in and do 2 days a week, great. Make them the 2 best damn days of your week. Yeah. You know what I mean? But again, if you are coming back and it's 2 days and you're like, I don't really want to be here, I'm going to just kind of half-ass it. Mm-hmm. I just don't, in any of fitness space, I don't know that you're going to get a lot out of that. And you may end up just more down on yourself than anything else. So I think it's just like what's been so great about Ute is that we do have people like that. We have people that are, 6 days a week and then coming into open gym on Sunday because they can't get enough of it.
Right.
And it becomes something where, hey, I have to do something today or I will feel worse. And that's great. That's not everybody.
Right.
But it is so nice that we have the ability to connect with the beginners who are only going to do the minimum amount of work, but they're going to give it everything they have.
Right.
And the more experienced people who are there 6-7 days a week, because this is almost a lifestyle thing that they've created.
Right. Yeah. And I remember whenever I had a feeling I would. I remember what I was going to say is like whenever you are looking at new gyms and stuff like that, like look for spaces like that are okay with you coming in and, like you said, 2 days a week. Like I've had people like, I can only make like life, it takes over, man. If you 2 days, if you can come in and give me 2 solid good days, perfect.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like obviously I think 3 to 5 is better because you're getting more time in the gym, more time in those things of like to work on stuff. Like, and I don't necessarily mean like practice. I just mean like, like you're lifting more and all these different things. That's awesome. But if you can find a space that these people like allow you to do that in a positive manner, perfect. that's awesome. So like if you're looking for a space, or if you're like trying to see like that's what I love about Ute is you guys, like it doesn't matter who comes in, we're all excited to see them. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't seen you in a week, man. What you been up to? Oh, I'm only coming in on Sundays and Mondays just because of like life right now is just got, it's me super busy. It's like, oh yeah, totally. Like, yeah, I get that. And I feel like we have a lot more of like understanding people almost, in the sense of like
Definitely.
people are like, yeah, that's totally cool.
Right.
And then I had like 3 thoughts. I'm just get your notebook paper like you have.
You're good. It's so much, so much of that is just the vibe, right? Like, and it may sound like a weird word, but like the vibe of a gym is very important.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people, they enjoy the vibe of a Planet Fitness where, the tag is judgment-free zone, and that's great. Go in and do your thing in there.
Right.
But a lot of people enjoy the vibe of a CrossFit gym where the music is bumping and there's weights dropping and there's sweat all over the floor and there's chalk flying in the air, right? Like but alongside of that, there's also people high-fiving each other, pre-COVID, but high-fiving each other and talking on the couches after, and Fridays maybe they're having a beer, and that's what's so great about Ute CrossFit and CrossFit as a brand is that it's created this avenue of a different type of environment that some people are just super addicted to, right? Like I love it. I love when I go in and the music is going, and it brings that energy and the vibe of the space to a different level that really can't be matched, I think, in the fitness space.
And it is a different vibe whenever you walk into so our space. Like I come in most days, like depending on when I'm coaching, like most days I try to work out like 1 to 2 p.m. to like 4 or something like that. And most of the time I come in, like the noon class is wrapping up, the music is still loud, like people are like so pumped, and it's like you feel that energy, like you feel that vibe. You feel like, okay, cool, it's a place where people work. Got music playing, like you said, up loud. Like this is a cool spot. And especially with like our new gym, like I freaking love it, because it's like you walk in, you're not immediately hit with people working out. Like the old gym was like bars right by the door.
Right.
And it was like, oh God, like, all right, let me shimmy around all these people. But like at the new space, it's like it's wide open in the beginning. Like when you first walk into the door, it's like you kind of have this like almost like a entrance area, like the couches and all that stuff kind of area, and then it's like it kind of fades open to where you start seeing everybody, and it's like, oh cool, there's a lot of people in here working out and really getting after it. So it kind of creates that cool space that I feel like you guys have kind of created, just like we've helped create too. By we, I mean me and Britt, but like the gym as a whole, like I know a lot of times people are like, no, it's because of you and Britt, but like I put a ton of like weight into our members and like our coaches and stuff like that, because you guys have really like, we've kind of like set the precedence of like, this is how we're going to do things. But it's like, I feel like the gym as a whole has just kind of created this space of like, this is a hardworking place. If you've had a hard day, it's all right, come in. We're still going to get some stuff done. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Like, cool. All right, you got your hour done. High five. You're sweaty. Like so many times I've had people tell me like, oh yeah, but I scaled in. I'm like, no. All right. Did you get out of breath? Are you sweaty? Who cares? Yep. It's like, cool, you're done. Like you got out of it what you wanted out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, from me, who, like you've mentioned, I have had the opportunity to go into a lot of gyms, and I enjoy going to gyms and seeing people who look like me, right? And that, not just me necessarily, but that can be anyone, right? And I think that's what's so appealing about CrossFit gyms is that whether you're going to Ute or you're going to a different one, it's hopefully you're going to a place and you're finding comfort in working out with people who are going through the same things that you are, who have similar journeys, whether they may be a little bit different or not. I think it's really important to find that and find comfort in knowing the people who you're kind of suffering with, and that just even furthers and strengthens that investment in that community. And having a bigger gym and all of the bells and whistles is great, right? I've told people that, hey, Ute has more rowers and bikes and ski ergs, right? With 3, that's more than a lot of gyms have. And that's awesome. But at the end of the day, it's like, find people that you just want to get to know and sweat next to, because that's what ultimately is going to make it a successful thing for you.
Right. And that's what's going to keep you coming back almost, is because that, all right, well, I got to go tomorrow because, so and so is going to be there and they're going to be expecting me. If I don't go, they're going to text me,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like, that's kind of like an almost negative way of looking at it, but it's also a positive, you know. And then like
accountability.
Accountability plays such a huge role in everything. And then the other side of it too is like you said, find a gym or like that's what makes our space awesome is we don't have one type of person that comes to our gym.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we don't have like all the athletes that are like top level. We also don't have all the beginners that are like just learning how to do a single under on a jump rope. You know what I mean? It's like we literally have the entire spectrum. And like for me, coming from a background of not working out and I tried working out like 3 or 4 times in high school with a couple buddies of mine. And every time, inevitably, we got ripped on by people. And I was just like, what's the point of being here? This isn't fun. Yeah, and it wasn't like a joking way, like we do now. We'd be like, oh, is that all you're lifting today?
Yeah, exactly.
But like there, it was like, bro, like that's all you got? You shouldn't even be here. Like you shouldn't be coming in, And I was just like, man, like this sucks. Like why do people love to do this? So it's like in the Ute for like I feel like has created a space. Like my old gym back home was pretty good about this. We had all types. We had our groups. Like it's funny. Like I had someone the other day that was like, oh, I can't do that, but I'm going to have to use the empty bar. And I was like, look at the person next to you. Yep. They're literally using the empty bar. And they're like, oh, okay. Well, I saw his bar. He has the big plates. And I'm like, who cares? Yeah. Like, just because he's doing it doesn't mean that you have to do it. It's like, I want you to enjoy it. I want you to do well at what you're going to do. And I was like, progress. Like, I came from nothing personally on working out wise. To where I'm at today, to where I feel like I'm decent or at least competent at all things CrossFit, and it's like if I can do it, you can do it. Yep. I promise. And it's like I think we've kind of instilled that to where it's like we have anywhere from someone who's a beginner that's never even touched a barbell to like you and Nate that's literally y'all's job for a long time. Like you were paid to work out and to like be efficient and stuff like that. So I think it's pretty cool because like. If you didn't know, you guys just blend right in. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you guys are giant compared to most people, but yeah, it's fun because you guys will go talk to someone who's new. Yep. Like, oh, hey, where are you from? What's going on? Oh, you said you're from, whatever. It's like, oh, cool. It's a family. It's kind of created this space. Yeah. So it's like, I think that our gym is one of the better gyms in the Salt Lake Valley, and not because of the name and not because of like me as a coach or not because any of our coaches specifically, or like our facility, because like if you compare our new facility to our old one, holy hell, leaps and bounds. Yeah. And that's nothing against that was just the way it was back then. Whenever Tommy opened the gym in 2009, it was like you just get into a warehouse looking spot, build it and they will come kind of a thing. Right. But now people are starting to look more into amenities, and like you said, like I've literally had people tell me like we have more assault bikes than they have in their entire erg collection. Right. And it's not to say because we're a super wealthy gym or like me and Britt are wealthy, by no means. It's just because like over the years, instead of investing in myself in the sense of like, cool, we made an extra $1,000 this month, I'm going to pocket that. It's like, no, let's buy a rower or let's buy another bike, or, we need to replace these plates. Like that's kind of my goal moving forward, is to replace everything in our gym that's beat up and like old. Right. Like I want you guys to come in and have good equipment. And my old gym back home had that. Like we had brand new everything. One time I showed up to work and our secretary lady, she accidentally put in the order for 10 rowers 3 times.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we had 30 rowers delivered. Perfect. And they were like, I just found a spot for it. Yeah. Like that's like, it was just like
everybody gets 2.
Yeah. You're gonna strap into both of them. You're gonna start 500 on this one, fin 500 on that one. But no, it was like holy shit. Like we had brand new bars, bumpers, pull-up bars, like everything. And it was awesome being able to see people being able to use the top of the line equipment, because like whenever you use an old non-spinny bar or like an old rusted something, it's like work can still be done. You can still get it done. You don't need the top of the line. But like my goal now is to create a facility that's nice. Everything is. Absolutely. Not just like we have a good bathroom. It's like, no, our barbells are nice. Our bumpers are nice. Our rowers are nice. We have like, my goal is to get 10 ski ergs. Like,
that'd be awesome.
That's my goal. Yeah. So we can use them more in class. So we have 12 rowers, 10 bikes, 3 ski ergs, and we had 7 ski ergs at one point, but I sold.
Oh, that's right.
I sold 4 of them because they were the Gen 1s, and I'm planning on buying the Gen 2s. Cool. And that's what we have right now. 3 of the black ones are the Gen 2s, and I really want to like keep increasing that, and being able to increase that obviously, like, and a lot of this is going to be post-COVID thoughts, but being able to increase like our rowers, our ski ergs, and our bikes and our space in the gym, and like having more barbells and stuff like that opens up more opportunities to have more people in class, and also to be able to have more class times.
Right.
And to kind of go on to the next subject is class times and like availability. So like whenever we originally thought of the gym, like the space layout and all that stuff, like we wanted an open gym area all alongside with the regular CrossFit area.
Yep.
And that's kind of created a space to where it's like, if you want to come in and do your own open gym stuff, awesome. Yeah. You got a little spot over there. Go ahead.
Yep.
Go in your corner. Go grind in your corner. Yeah. Whatever you want to do, go do it. Like, we got a good space for you here. Now, granted, class takes precedence, but
Yep.
you know, you can come in and do your own stuff, and it's totally fine. Like, no one's like, oh, that's so-and-so. And he always, no, it's like, yeah, so-and-so. Yeah. We talked to him the other day. He's cool. But that's kind of like our goal, mine and Britt's, as a gym, is to kind of keep creating a space to where it's like, obviously we got to hit a certain cap with certain things, but kind of create a space to where it's like you have more options in the sense of like scheduling, types of equipment, types of programs, and all that stuff. Like, obviously we're going to hit a certain cap because of space, but I don't know, like the biggest thing is like creating a spot where it's like, if you want to come 5:30 a.m. today and 6 p.m. tomorrow, and then noon the next day, and then open gym during, Thursday, it's like, cool.
Right.
Yeah, you can do that because we have the space for it and we have those things.
Right. And I think in terms of the schedule, I think that's one of the big things for you is how many, options you have, and certainly a lot more than some of the other gyms that I've either dropped into or just looked at around this area. And that's great, right? Because I know that if something happens and I can't make the 5 o'clock class, I can go to the 6 o'clock class, or I can go to the 7 o'clock class. And that's huge for people to know that there's some flexibility to where if it's like, oh, I missed the 5 o'clock class, I'm screwed. That's it. Or I can go, and I might be 15 minutes late, but I can go. I know I can go in this corner and kind of do my own thing. I think that's great for people, and it keeps them coming back because they've found that comfort in the schedule that you guys have created.
Yeah, and the scheduling for people that, if you don't come to our gym, is we have 4 morning classes: 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30. Noon, 4, 5, 6, and 7 p.m. And it's a lot of classes.
With open gym from 1 to
1:30 to
4.
3:30. It's like basically, I mean, it's technically it's 1 to 4. It's in between our classes. And then we even have like early in the mornings between basically 9:30 to noon. If people wanted to come in during that time, there's somebody there. But yeah, and we, like you kind of touched on, like if you can't make a certain class, cool, come in. And I think like kind of touching on the original topic we were kind of brought up first is the aspect of like, it's okay to bounce from class to class.
Yep.
Like any class you go to, because it is intimidating. Like, oh man, I'm normally a night person. I've never been to the mornings, and I have to go tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. if I want to get a workout in. I don't know, anybody that comes in, if you come to the gym, you automatically know that it's okay. Yep. You know what I mean? You still have that like slight fear because you don't know who,
right.
But it's still like, yeah, whatever.
Everything looks the same. Cool. I mean, other than, maybe it's a different group of people who go at night, but the bathrooms and the barbells and the rowers all look the same.
Yeah. So you're not getting anything brand new.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's kind of created that. And then too, it might be the same coach that you had the night before, because they come in and coach the next morning, Like I coached Monday, Tuesday night, and I'm going to go coach Thursday morning, all the AM classes. So it's kind of like I might still see the same people, might not. But yeah, I feel like we've definitely created it. And then obviously I'm not done in the sense of like growing and creating things better. Like I'm about to move the whole gym around for you guys that don't know. Like get ready. The whole rig is being moved.
And I'm not surprised.
Yeah. It's funny. Chris in Virginia,
it's almost been a year.
I know. They literally said, it's been a long time since you've moved stuff. And I was like, it's coming up.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Yeah. Can you believe it's almost been a year?
I know.
Like I cannot believe it's like March, I think like 16th or 15th was like our first day in the new space.
Yeah. I just had a Facebook memory of the last big community WOD at Sugar House pop up. Yeah. It was last weekend or something.
That is so mind-blowing. A year. I cannot believe it's already been a year. It does not feel like it. It feels like we just opened like 6 months ago. Yeah,
sort of.
Yeah, right. Yeah, with COVID and everything. Yeah, kind of. But no, I'm about to like move the gym around, and that's kind of why I wanted to start the podcast with you, is keep creating content and keep bringing up things to where because I want everybody to get the most out of the experience that is Ute CrossFit.
Definitely.
And like whether people listen to the podcast or not, like I enjoy it because it's going to help me grow. Like just chatting with you every day has been awesome. So I think it's going to be awesome to be able to chat with you more on this podcast and more on these topics and stuff. And the changes in the gym are going to come, and they are going to happen in a positive way, because like I don't do just stuff off the cuff. You know what I mean? I sit on it and I think about it, and I really want it to be the right move and the right thing for the gym, because kind of going back to one of the topics is the investment side of things. Like if you're going to spend money and invest in me and my wife in running this business, I want to give you every single bit of quality out of what you're paying me. Because like I don't look at it as like, let's get as many people in here and pay me. I look at it as like, they're paying something. Like I'm stingy with money. Grew up with no money, so I'm like, if I'm spending that much money on something, I better see a return.
Right.
So like I want to keep giving as much as I can. I know Brittany feels the same, and I know you feel the same now as a coach. Like you see it like from the coach's eye now, and it's like, okay, cool. Like these people are coming in every day and expecting you to teach them how to do something.
Exactly.
So it makes it a lot of fun and a lot of fulfilling as a coach. Like yesterday, I was in a terrible mood, but the moment I started coaching, I was such a better mood.
Pulled you up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, oh, these people are coming in every day. Like,
right.
They don't have to. They could literally tell me like, hey, hold my account tomorrow.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Will do.
Right.
But I think doing the podcast with you is going to be a lot of fun, and then seeing it grow and where it goes is going to be awesome. And maybe one day we'll have a name for the podcast.
Maybe one day. Yeah, we'll have to think of that. But I do want to make sure that I say, there's a lot of gyms that have very behind the scenes owners. Yeah. Very behind the scenes, to the point where you may only see or be familiar with the owner because it's on the landing page. The fact that you and Brittany are there so often, and I know that's you guys live crazy schedules and are low on sleep and fuel and all that kind of stuff, goes a long way. The fact that we see you guys usually on a daily basis, and you talk to us and check in on us, and we see you sweat and do the same things that we're doing. It's not that you're doing just something similar so you can punch your ticket to, a sanctional or something. It's like you're there doing the same thing or close to the same thing that you're putting the rest of us through. So that goes a long way.
Cool. I really appreciate that, because that means a lot, because we, day in and day out, like you said, long schedules, like long days, long nights, early mornings, like it does tend to like wear on us. So to have like you hear my dog, have a reminder of that definitely goes a long way. And like we definitely appreciate hearing those things, because it's like, okay, cool. It is seen, it is going a long way.
Yep,
like
you guys are doing the right things.
Cool. And I appreciate that, because it's weird to me that people run businesses without being there. Obviously, granted, it depends on the type, because you have certain businesses where the owners can't know everything. Right. But yeah, as a CrossFit gym owner, where community is, I feel like the core of what your gym is, the fact that people run those gyms very disconnected, just blows my mind.
Well, yeah, I mean, you guys have an excuse, right, to not go, or go at separate times and get out and not actually have to talk to the people that are coming in and getting the memberships and sweating on your floor. Yeah. But you guys have made the choice, because it's important to you to get to know the people, is why I believe that the gym continues to grow and will continue to, flourish in the future. Yeah,
and I'm excited. I'm excited to have you on as a coach, and now on the podcast with
me. That's right. You're going to get plenty of Lambert.
Yeah, cool. More Lambert, less Madison, more thing.
Right? No.
That was a joke he said with Chris that I used to have a podcast with. Yeah,
apparently it's never going to die. No, so that's good.
So I talk a lot. But no, it's cool. First podcast. Thanks for listening, guys. It was fun. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. I'm excited to see where this podcast kind of goes and grows, and kind of like mine and Lambert's kind of relationship kind of on this podcast, and like how it's going to grow in those things. Do you have any kind of like last things you want to say?
No, I mean, like I said, I'm excited to, we've got a lot of things that we want to talk about. There's going to be things that just pop up that we're not even prepared for, but I think it's good. And, we'll see you guys at the pull-up bar.
Cool. Yeah. Right. That's a good way to end it. That's a good tagline. If you guys don't know, I want to plug this for Lambert real quick. He actually has Tattooed Athlete Club.
Tattooed Athletic Club. Yeah.
So make sure you guys listen to that podcast. Follow them on Instagram. Follow them on all the things, all the socials.
Yeah. Yep. If you're a tattooed athlete, would love to share your story kind of on the social media platforms. And even if you don't have tattoos, or maybe just interested in why people put ink on their body, check out Tattooed Athletic Club and hear some pretty cool stories.
Cool. All right, bud.
All right, Maddie. Thanks, man.
Yeah. See you guys.